For this project, you're going to need some sort of bugle beads. These are size 3, which are about 6 millimeters long. These are very cheap. We're using our cheap beads today, guys. So because these are cheap, they're very cheaply made. Some of the ends are at a diagonal, a little too sharp to use. We'll pick out the good ones and save the other ones for something else maybe. You're gonna need your cheapie focus bead. This is a 6-aught, super cheap. I got these at Walmart years and years ago. I did look today while I was shopping. They do still have some like this in this red silver line, so you can get them still. This is the time where you shouldn't be buying stuff. You should be using this stuff from way back when, okay, when you first started. Use those up, okay. These are 11-aught seed beads in the colored silver lined emerald. Again, these are super cheap. I got these probably at Hobby Lobby maybe. Same with these. Okay, they do have them still. I looked one day while I was there looking for something else. You can still get these, no problem. But again, pull out those beads that you bought way back when you weren't sure you were going to be beading for long. You just wanted to try it, see if you liked it, and then you knew better. Get those out. It's time to use those. You're going to need some kind of thread. I'm using this FireLine crystal 8-pound test, which is that 0.18 millimeter diameter. I'm running out, but you know, I've been using this for a long time. There is a lot on these rolls. I have some the thermally fused. This stuff is more expensive, but it's a new one. Again, this is a 8-pound test or 3.6 kilogram test. There's a lot on here, same length as this one. This one is thermally fused. It's a little tougher than this stuff, but either one's gonna work. Get those out. You may want a Thread Zap or a lighter. I use a lighter just to burn the ends, get them melted down a little bit into the ornament. That way they're hidden better. You're gonna need some beading needles. Okay, for me, I prefer to use the size 10. They're a little bit bigger, but sometimes these little seed beads are really hard to get through. I have had to remake several of those ornaments I showed at the beginning because I was using a size 10 needle. So I have the size 12 just in case. It's a little finer, a little bit easier to go through. You're gonna need one of those. Make sure you have several on hand because these size 12 beading needles, they break really easily. I broke 2 in on the last 3 ornaments. So speaking of which, you do need an ornament. The ones I've made are all the examples were all this 22 millimeter, which is about 8 3/4 inch in circumference, which is approximately 3.5 inch 3-inch diameter, maybe. Hard to tell. I could do the math on it, but I'm not going to. So get your ornament that you want. You can make these a little bigger, a little smaller to fit the ornament you want. It's really easy to adjust this pattern, okay? And last thing, you're going to need some way to cut your line, your thread. Okay, I've got these lovely scissors, but you use what you got. Okay, so get your stuff together and we will get started. So wingspan of thread to begin with. Again, this is going to be a thread eater, so just be prepared for that. This ornament cover is built from this row right here, this round of little seed beads, and then you go to the top and then you work your way down all the way to the bottom. Okay, so to begin, we need to pick up a multiple of 10. If you look on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You're gonna, so you need a multiple of 10. 40, 50, 60, whatever. Whatever is the number you need to get around the top of your ornament. Now that first round that we're starting at sits about here, okay? It's not right up here. We'll get up there in a minute, but down here, okay? So pick up your multiple of 10, since these are the same. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna pick up my 40. Okay, that first one, I'm actually gonna bring all the way to the bottom and use it as a stop bead. You can use a stopper, you can use a stop bead that is completely different from the bead you're using. Do what you do, okay? However you like to do it. We're gonna keep some slack in this too, just a little bit, not enough to show the thread too much, but just enough to keep from breaking your needle as you're trying to pass through these tiny little beads, okay? So I'm gonna pick up my multiple. That's one here, and then 2 and 3 and 4. So that's my first multiple, okay? And then I'm gonna do that 9 more times, and I will meet back up with you when I'm done. All right, as you can see, I've got my multiples on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, and I am using that stop bead as my first bead. Now, this is up to you. You guys can absolutely not reinforce. So depending on whether or not you want to be one of those people who reinforce or not, go ahead and reinforce or don't. But make sure you've gone at least one more bead past your stop bead to form a circle. Okay, so I have gone all the way around. I'm a righty, so I'm going to work that direction. Okay. And because I don't like being right next to my stop bead, I'm going to move up a bead or two here. Like that. See if I can zoom you in a little bit. Okay. All right, now it's up to you how you want to do this next bit. We're going to build up here, but we're also going to build down here, okay? We're going to pick up a focal bead and then 3 seed beads on either side of this ring. If your multiple the first number was an odd number, so like 50 or 70 or 30, then you can stagger these, okay, and it'll look really pretty staggered. Mine is 40, so it's not really, it won't line up properly if I try to stagger it, so I'm not going to, but you certainly can if your multiple was big enough, was an odd number at the beginning. So 50 or 70 or something like that. Okay, do you see how wide this is? It is just a little bigger than the ornament cap. Okay, that's good. That's what we want. So you're going to pick up one of your focal beads. Okay, like that. And then 3 of your 11 O's. You could use 10 O's here. You could do even 15 O's. 15 O's get really tight really quick, so you may not want to do that. So this is what I have. I'm going to drop it down. And then you're going to bypass the 3 11 O's and go through your focal bead. Okay, and the direction that you are going in, which in my case is away from that, in this direction, counterclockwise, you're going to go through that bead, that seed bead. Oops, right there again. Okay, so you've picked up a focal and 3 seed beads, and you're going to go back through the focal, leaving the 3 seed beads with only 1 string going through it. Okay, that's going to give you a picot. I don't know if you can hear that noise in the background. My cat has attacked a piece of junk mail. He's protecting us from our junk mail, which is lovely. Thank you, Jack. And if you see, I'm trying to make that sit nicely. Okay, out of this one seed bead. Hopefully you can see that. So pick up another focal bead. I'm looking for ones that aren't super huge here. Some of these, they are really wide here. Let me see if I can fish one out. See the difference? I'm looking for smaller ones. These we will use in the, later on in the project. Save those. We're going to use them. But for this top part, the smaller ones are a little bit better for this. Okay, so you pick up your focal bead, your 3 seed beads, whatever they are. 15s, 11s, even 8s will work here, okay? You're going to drop it down. Bypass those little seed beads and back through. Okay, towards the ring. All right, make sure you're going, don't go this way, because we want that bead to sit on the edge. Okay, so back through that. Try not to get your tail cut. I know this is going to be an annoyance. And you guys will be very tempted to go ahead and work it in. Don't. This is going to get super thread tight through here, and you're not going to have space to work if you get rid of it now. So don't do that. Okay. So I'm going back through yet again that tiny little seed bead. Okay. This is where 8/0 would be nice, or 10/0. You're going to pull it down and just make sure that you don't get anything caught. Pull it up. So this is what I have. Right here. This is what I've got. And you're going to want to keep going. You're going to go back through that same seed bead we've been working out of. Okay, that same one right there. It's got all the threads coming out of it. We're going through it one more time. Okay, and then you're going to count off your multiple. Okay, so there's mine, 1 2 3 4. That's my multiple. So I need to go to 1 again, 1 beyond that, to get to the next multiple. So this was 4. So this one will be number 5 bead for me, because my multiple was 4 times 10. Okay, I'm going to pull through, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Pick up a focal bead, 3 seed beads, bypass the 3 seed beads, so they'll make a picot on the end. Okay, go through the same seed bead you're going through in the same direction. Reinforce if you choose to, and then on the opposite side pick up another focal bead and 3 seed beads. Bypass those 3 seed beads back into your focal bead and back through that seed bead, and then reinforce if you want to, and then move ahead of your multiple. And you're going to repeat that all the way around until you have 10 sets of these 2. Okay, and I will meet you back up when you get done with that. So we need the bauble we're going to use for this next step, because we are going to fit this part right here. Now it would look really pretty, and I think I'm going to do it just so you can see. I'm going to use these little 11/0 cheapy red silver lined middle bead of the picot. I will pick up one of my seed beads, and you can do this in a matching color. You can do like me in the opposite color. In the final product it will be in the regular color. It'll be in the green for mine too, but this is just so you can see what I'm doing. And I will meet back up with you when I have that finished. All right, after a little bit of trial and error, mine were a little thinner, so I actually had to put 2 in between each picot. So 1 2, and then the picot, 1 2, then the picot bead. but that actually fits exactly as I want it to. Okay, so I am coming out of the first ring, or the first picot bead that I had started from, okay, before I started adding on these seed beads. I need to needle my way down, so I'm coming out a picot bead on the opposite side of the original ring we had. That. Okay, so I came through my focal bead. I'm going up through one of my picot beads and through the middle picot bead to start our next round. This one's really, really simple. Okay, we need to make these bridges here. Okay, in my sample I have three seed beads, 11/0, your focal bead. Here you can use whatever you want. I've used bicone crystals that are 3mm, 4mm. I've also used round duos, which look really pretty, and give you a whole different option of how to do the next step. This part is up to you. What you use is up to you. Pick up 3 more. So what we have is 3 11/0, a focal, and 11/0. I'm moving my mat all around on you. And you're just going to pass through the next center picot bead. Pull it tight. And what you'll have is just a little loop, a little swag, if you will. Okay, so that was 3 11s, a focal, whatever focal you're using, and 3 more. And one last time. That one's even thinner than it should be, like way thinner. I have a few of those. 3, a focal, and 3, and pass through the next center picot bead. Do that all the way around, and when you get done, come out the first focal bead you added, and I'll meet you back in a minute. All right, I've made it back around. I'm exiting a focal bead. We're going to do this next step and the long step. Okay, so we're doing 2 steps in one at this point. Okay, so go ahead and pick up 3. Well, you can see me here. 3 seed beads, and once again, if one of your 11/0 is a little wider than the other 2, put it in the middle. Okay, so you got 3 11/0. You're going to pass through the same focal bead in the same direction that you were before. That'll put those 3 beads on the outside. If you are like a lot of people and don't like seeing this extra thread on either side, put a couple 15s on there. The only 15s I have are really expensive and I don't want to use them in this project. The point of this project is to use the cheapest beads you've got and use them up. Okay, so I'm cutting out the focal bead. I'm going to go through the first 2 that I'm close to of those 3 11/0 seed beads. And now I need to pick up a sequence of beads that is here. Okay, on my purple and gold one, you'll notice it's a lot less clunky or elaborate, might be an appropriate word. It's because my bugle beads and this one were actually long enough to do what I needed them to do. They are 10 millimeters here, and the ones I have sitting over here are only like 6 millimeters. They are so little compared to what I need. So in order to be able to use the color I want, I'm going to add a focal bead to either end. Okay, so that sequence, let's take a peek at that. You're coming out that middle seed, you're going to pick up one seed bead. Okay, that's going to give you right here, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number 4. Okay, we'll pick up number 5 in a minute. Do yourself a favor and just make sure you have 2 that are about the same size. I find 2. And put one of them off by itself so I can find it again. That'll make these 2 sit side by side a lot nicer, okay? Especially once we get this unit that I'm gonna call it this bugle bead focal bead combo. I'm calling my unit in place. So you're going to pick up a focal bead, a bugle bead, and a focal bead. Now if your bugle beads are long enough, you don't have to do these 2 on the end. In fact, you don't, you can't. It'll make it too big. Okay, go ahead and slide those down a little bit, and then you're going to pick up 3 for a picot on the end. So 3 11/0 on the end. Okay, you're going to put all that down and bypass all of the 11/0 that you added. So just go through your unit, either the one bugle bead, or in my case it's a focal, a bugle, a focal. And this is where you're definitely going to want to reinforce. These bugle beads are super sharp, and I own this one and the blue one, my sample, and the blue one, and one I've given away already. My thread broke in several spots because bugle beads cut right through my thread. So I'm going to pick up that last seed bead that I had hiding over here all by itself. That'll give us bead number 5. We started with that middle 11/0 on the little perimeter ring. You need to go back through that and pull it down. So you're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there, okay? And then your unit, and then a picot on the end of the unit, and that's what you're gonna have for this round. We're gonna do those 2 steps all in one. And I've gone back around. I'm gonna go through that middle seed bead of the outer ring right here, and then this one bead has only 1 string through it. That's the one we need. I'm going to pass through it and through the focal bead one more time. Okay, so now this whole unit, this whole thing has now been reinforced. I will needle my way through the next 3 seed beads, through the seed bead and the picot from round earlier, 2 rounds before, and then back up the next 3 11/0 seed beads. Like I said, my focal bead is actually 6/0. You can use what you use, whatever you like. Go through those and through the focal bead. Needle your way to the next focal bead and add the same sequence of beads again. And you're going to repeat that 8 more times at each focal bead around. And I'll meet you back when I am done with mine. All right, I have added all of these parts, maybe. There we go, and I'm back to where I started. I am coming out one of the focal beads here. So I need to get to one of the picot that are on the end of these that we just added. So I'm going to needle my way around and up, so I am coming out the middle bead of that picot, and on the sample project, this is where I am. Okay, so we are going to pick up the top zigzag. Okay, so it's an 11-aught, whatever your unit is. In my case, it's a focal, a bugle, a focal, another 11-aught, another unit, and another 11-aught. You'll notice I'm picking up 2 of my focals at the same time. It's so that I can make sure that they kind of match, at least in width-wise. Trying to make them as even as I can, so that an 11-aught, my unit, another 11-aught, and I'll just slide them down a little bit. And then a unit. And I am picking through these, just trying to find the ones that aren't cut on the diagonal. You can sand those beforehand, which would make this a little less dangerous on your thread, but I didn't do that. Okay, so that's the sequence, and you're just going to pass through the very next picot, that middle bead, and pull it down. And that's it for this whole round. You're just going to repeat that 9 more times. And when I get done with that, I'll be back. I will be reinforcing, but again, you don't have to if you don't feel the need to. Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. All right, I have added the seed bead, unit, seed bead, unit, seed bead in each spot all the way around. And then I went around again and reinforced, and here's where I started. And right now I am coming out that seed bead in our project, somewhere in here on one of these middle seed beads. Okay, so what we need to do is make the bottom zigzag here. That's going to be the same number of beads in the and style of beads as the above zigzag. The only difference is where we're putting the 11-aughts. Before it was 11 unit, 11 unit, 11. This time we're going to use a unit, 3 11s in a row, and then a unit. So I'm exiting here. I'm going to pick up a unit, three 11s, and a unit. Okay, and we'll drop those down. Once again, that's a unit, 3 11s, and another unit. And then I'm going to go through the next middle seed bead of what we added before. And this gets a little tough trying to get in there because those focal beads on either side are kind of chunky. Just kind of maneuver it however you can to get in there, and you only want to go through that middle seed bead. You don't want to go through anything else. There we go. So you're going to repeat that all the way around, and I'll meet you back in a minute. Alright, I've gone all the way around once, adding the beads, and then all the way around again, reinforcing. And I am currently coming out of the middle seed bead of the 3 that we added in each section. Okay. On our ornament, it's this part right here that we're going to build, and we're going to build this entire section. Okay, like we did before. We're coming out the middle one. We're going to pick up 1 11-aught, and while I'm here, I'm looking for 2 that kind of match, because they'll sit better side by side if they match. I'm going to pick up 1. You're going to pick up a unit. For me, that is a focal bead, a bugle bead, and a focal bead. Okay, and then we're going to pick up 3 more 11-aughts. And again, make sure that whatever 3 you're picking up, if you happen to have one that's a little chunkier, put it in the middle. Okay, and you're bringing that down. Just like that. Skip all of the 11-aughts that you've added. Okay, just like before, and pick up the last 11-aught. So you've had 4 here, now you have number 5, and go in the same direction of that middle bead that you were doing when you first began this. So my string is coming out here. I need to enter from the opposite side. Just like that. So now you've got from here to here made. We're going to go ahead and go back up. And we're going to exit that middle bead of the picot on the end there. Okay. So I'm coming out this one here on this side. We're going to travel back up through the unit. Get that a pull. You don't really need a little any slack in this particular part. You did need a little before, but we don't need any in this part. You're gonna go up through the first 2 seed beads of that picot and stop right there. Try not to catch your fingers on it. You're gonna pick up a seed bead, a focal bead, and 1 more seed bead. And again, this is the spot where if you don't like the thread showing, which you can kind of see a little here and here, if you don't like that thread showing, put a 15 in there on either side. It's perfectly acceptable to go ahead and do that if you want to. Personally, I'm not concerned about it, so I'm not doing it. And again, my 15s are kind of pricey, so I'm not going to waste them on this project. This needs to be a cheapy project, right? And then I'm going to reinforce. Again, you don't have to if you don't want to. So going in the same circular motion, I exited here, this top or middle seed bead of the picot, added the 11, a focal, and 11, and went back through it. So now I'm going through it one more time, all 3 beads plus that picot bead, and catching my fingers because that's how I do things. Pick up that last of the beads that we added, and last time through that picot bead. Make sure it's nice and snug, and then go back down. So I'm exiting that one. We're going to enter the last of those picot down through the unit. Down through the side we didn't have 2 strings through. And through that last C bead there. And then we got to travel all the way to the next one. I do recommend that you try to get these beads all in one go. It's a little easier than trying to fiddle with getting your needle in between two of the 11/0 seed beads. So I followed my thread path, and I'm now coming out in that same position in the next unit, the next section. And this is what I have. I'm going to get over there and finish my additions for this round, and I will meet back up with you in a little bit. All right, here's what we've got. I have gone around and added the unit plus this this bit with a focal bead on as I went, and I did that all the way around. Everything's reinforced. There's at least 2 strings through every single bead. When I got done adding this bit, I went all the way to the bottom, and now I've traveled from this center bead here and all the way back down to the focal bead. So now I'm coming out this focal bead. On my example here, I am coming out a focal bead. So what I want to do is start making this sort of lattice woven type weave type construction here on the bottom that's going to cinch this whole thing in and bring this together at and make it nice and tight, so it's not going to come off this ornament unless you break it somewhere. So each one of these little zigzags through here has a certain odd number of beads. So for the first one is 11, the second one has 9 in each section, and the third one has 7 in each section as you go around. Your bauble could be different. It may require different numbers, but you're going to want to keep that odd number because you'll be able to use the center of those beads to do your cross work. So this comes down like this when you're adding it, and then the next one's going to come in and cross right there. Okay, so odd numbers. Okay. And just for the sake of fun, just so you can see, this is what mine looks like on. Okay. There it is. If I could stop moving my little mat around. This is what I got. You can stop right here. This is really pretty like it is. We'll get going here. We're going to pick up, we're pretty much done with our focal beads and our bugle beads at this point. An odd number of beads. In this case, I'm picking up 11. That's 4, 5, and I want to make sure that if I have one that's a little chunkier, I'm putting that in the middle. So 6. Half of 11 is 5.5, so 6. So you'll have 5 on one side and 5 on the other, and a bead in the middle. Okay, so that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay, this may be the wrong number. It may be the correct number. The only way to tell for sure is to put them on and try it. And keep that wax that wax handy. You might need to re-wax your threads after you've done this. Just like that. And I'll repeat that all the way around. And when I do get around, I'm not going to reinforce just yet. I want to try this on my ornament to make sure it's actually going to fit. It may not. I may need more or I may need fewer. We'll see in a moment. I'll be right back. Alright, I've made it all the way around and I haven't tried it on yet, but I figured I'd do that on camera so you can see my process here. I am trying to hold this in such a way that all of the pieces are tight against. And if you look, if we spread those out equidistant from each other, there is space in between each one. This one looks like it's got a lot of space, a little bit of space here. So what I want to do is make this 13 instead of 11. So I'm going to take them all back off and start over again. I'll be right back. All right, I've gone once around, adding 13. 13 is exactly the right number for this particular ornament. The sea beads I used in this one are a little bigger, despite the fact that they're both 11-aughts. Whatever size you're using, it's going to depend on how many you need, okay? So don't let that throw you off. So this is good right here. I am going to go around once more to reinforce, of course, and then I will start on the next one and I'll be right back. All right, I have gone around twice and I'm now exiting a focal bead right here. Okay, I want to go to the middle bead of this section. We added 13. The middle of that would be 6.5 or 7. So you'll have 6, 1, and 6. So I'm going to needle through and find that 7th bead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And as we work, it's going to start to pull a little bit, and that's exactly what we're looking for. So this one's going to be a little smaller. It, again, trial and error, guys. It could be 11, or I may still need 13. It's hard to say. For certain, it's just going to depend on your bauble size. So that's 5, 6, bigger one in the middle. 6, 7, 8, 9. Oops, it's really tiny. 9, 10, and oh, these are all really tiny. 11. Double check my count. 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And I'm just going to pass. I'm coming out here. I want to go into the next set, and I'm going to pass through the 7th bead again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Double check that you have 6 on the other side. Pull it down, and that's what you're going to get. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. I'll be back after I've got the 11 on in each section, and I'll show you what I'm looking for. Alright, I tried 11, and as you can see, I've got little gaps in every spot, which means this needs to be a 13 round as well. So I will take them all out, put 13 in, and then it's the next one should be 11, but I'll be back when I have the 13. All right, I've gone all the way around, adding 13 in each spot. And this is what I have. I'm going to reinforce and go all the way around one more time. And then I want to be exiting again that same 7th bead like we did in the one before. And we're going to add 11. And that's going to tighten everything up, and then we'll be done with this project. I'll be right back. All right, I'm exiting the 7th bead. When I pull this tight, you're going to start seeing the shape that we want. So we're going to pick up 11. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 11. And I'm going to go through the 7th bead of the next set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And as I pull it down, this is what I'm gonna get. And that looks like it's gonna be good. Okay. That looks like it's gonna fit nicely. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish all the way around, adding 11, and I'll be right back. All right, I am back to the beginning, and I've gone all the way around twice. I'm going to finish off my thread tail here, weave it in, and then the bottom of this will be done. Now, if you look, you do see a lot of the bottom of this ornament showing. If you don't like that, and you may not, you can always keep going with this. Do another round of 11, then a round of 9, and another round of 9. Whatever it takes to fill the bottom in, that's up to you. So I'm going to finish this off, and I'll be right back. We're going to work on this ornament hanger here. Okay, it's super simple and quick to do. I'll be right back. All right, I have gone all the way around and fastened off and tucked in my tail end. And now I want to make a hanger. Okay, this is super simple. My rule of thumb is, somewhere past the midway, but not, all the way. You make this as long as you need it, right? So I've got some thread on here. I'm not sure how long it is, about 18 inches or so. I threaded on a stop bead already. There. And the first thing I want to do is pick up a focal bead. You see in the sample, it's right here. Okay. And then you're going to pick up enough to go through the cap, the hole in the cap right here. Okay, and up just a little bit. Okay, you don't want a lot of room in there, but enough that it'll swing freely. For my red example, it's about 8. These are a lot smaller width-wise, so it'll probably be like 10 or 12. So I will add on, a good number. and see how many more I need, or if I have too many. Okay, that looks pretty good. For this one, it is 3, 6, 9, and 12. And I'll drop that down. I'm going to pass my tail thread through. I'm going to pass my needle through, and then pinch right where the end of the line is and pull it up. And that needs a few more, so I'm just going to pick up maybe 3 more. So now I'm at 15 for these tiny seed beads. Once again, just get a hold and see how that looks, and that looks pretty good. So I will take my needle up through the focal bead, and make sure that there is no breaks in the line of beads where thread is showing. Okay, so that's nice and down. We'll make it nice and secure here in a little bit. We'll tie the 2 ends together when we meet up again in just a minute. So now I'm just going to string on enough beads that it gives me this full length. For those of you who are wanting to know, doubled up is about 5 inches long, which is 13 centimeters. I'm not going to make you watch all of this while I do it. I'll be right back. Okay, I've threaded on enough beads, I think. It's about that 5 inches-ish. And what I want to do now is go through all the beads, including the stop bead, since I used a seed bead for that, and reinforce everything. Okay, so let's start with that seed bead. And then go all the way around. And when I'm done, I will double check, make sure I like how much strength is in this, because this is where the all the wear and tear is going to happen, is right here, okay, on this hanger. So you want that to be nice and strong. If my string is long enough, I'll do 3 laps, so 3 total strings in there, just to make sure it's nice and strong. And I'll be back when I have that done. And there are the ornaments hanging on the tree. All of my family here at Nerdy Creations to all of yours. I hope you have a wonderful, safe, and happy holiday and a very prosperous new year. Bye, guys.